What are you cooking for dinner tonight? Well, here I'm gonna be cooking chicken fried chicken. So we're gonna do some chicken fried chicken. My daughter's been begging me for a while to do this. So got everything laid out so far. So one of the first things you need to do is peel your potatoes. This is a meal you can do roughly 30 to 40 minutes. I will put this in my 30-minute category only because if I'm not recording or doing nothing, I can come in here and I can get it done. So things that you're gonna need is you're gonna need your potatoes. They need to be peeled, ready to go. Those need to be started first. You need some buttermilk, sour cream. We'll get to why we need sour cream. Some eggs, some flour, oil, your choice of oil. You can use vegetable oil, which is what I'm gonna do. Seasoning wise, I use Italian herb, which I've already said in my other videos. I get it at Sam's. This is really, really good. Some sea salt, some black pepper, some ground garlic, ground pepper, or ground onion. Tony Chachere's, I use the no salt added Tony Chachere's, and some paprika, and any other flavors that you want to kind of put into your batter. So this is going to be a double battered chicken fried chicken. So first thing first, what I'm going to do is I got my 2 flours. So I'm going to take one of my flours and I'm going to start putting seasonings inside the flour itself. So that's all you do, is you just throw some seasonings off into your flour because you want to make sure that your chicken stays seasoned. Again, you can use whatever chicken you like, but just like a lot of the meals that you're going to watch me around here, I use a lot of boneless chicken thighs. So I like the way chicken thighs are versus what chicken breast does. If you're conscious about the leanest meat, then go with your chicken breast. All right, so I got my flour, I got my Tony Chachere's, I got some black pepper, I got some ground onion. We're gonna do some ground garlic, and then we're gonna do some of the Italian herb from Sam's. I shake it up a little bit. And then you coat till you believe for your taste buds. So this ain't gonna be like 2 pinches of this, 2 pinches of that, 2 pinches of this, 2 pinches of that. So this is gonna be literally and truly your own taste buds. You can use Italian seasoning if you like. I don't put too much in because I don't want it, this isn't an Italian dish, so I don't use too much. So then what you do is you take a fork and you start mixing that around in that flour. Because you're going to want to put more seasonings on it as it's cooking as well. So just move that around. Just give it a light little fluff around. Mix it around into that flour. All right, I'm going to put that to the side. I'm not in a fancy restaurant, so the next thing I do is I take a Ziploc baggie for my chicken. What I want to do is I want to open up my chicken. I'm making 4 of these. So I'm going to take my thigh right here. I got some pretty big thighs. And I'm going to put it into the bag. All right, again, I'm not in a fancy kitchen, so I don't have a lot I probably need to get it, but I do need a meat beater. But I just take a cup and I beat the meat down. So you're just trying to get it a little flat. You don't need it super flat, so you don't go crazy beating your chicken. So this is what we get. We get a nice, where it thins it out a little bit for us. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna beat the rest of my chicken. All right, so before I beat my chicken completely, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna get my oil and my water started for my potatoes. All right, so I got my hot water in the pot. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut my potatoes in 3s to 4s because I want them to cook the quickest. If you try to cut them too big, they're gonna take longer to cook. So I don't want this to take super long. We want to do this really quick and, have dinner done quickly. Okay, so now I have all my potatoes peeled. The water is just barely above the potatoes. I don't want my water like super full in here. You just want it where it just barely goes over the top. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna take some salt, sea salt preferably, and you're just gonna give it a couple of sprinkles over the top right there. That's gonna help the water boil a little bit faster. Put a lid over it and then go ahead and put it onto your stove. And since you're over at the oven, go ahead and turn on for your grease and go ahead and start getting your grease hot. So again, you don't have to submerge the chicken. You're just wanting to coat the bottom of the chicken, but make sure that you have enough grease in. That way, whenever you're frying it, the flour and everything doesn't soak up all your grease. So go ahead and move that to high. Let that start getting high. You're not going to cook on high the whole time. Or if not, you're going to burn your batter and not cook your chicken. Okay, so I use about 4 eggs. Sometimes you might add another egg or so. So just keep a couple extra out just in case the flour decides to soak up too much. So what I do is I take my chicken and I go into buttermilk first. So I'm going to take chicken into buttermilk, coat it in that buttermilk, and then go into the flour that you did not season. And then you want to coat it in that flour. Coat that flour all the way around, get it nice and coated. Then you're going to take it and you're going to put it into the egg. Take it, put it into the egg. You just need a quick wash of the egg. And now drop it into the seasoning, the flour with all the seasoning on it. And just go ahead and flip it around. And now you got you a nice crust. Okay, so there we go. We have it all breaded. So don't worry about it if anything's peeking through. It's not all completely, you've seen the flour through it all. That's not going to matter at all. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to go throw it onto the grease. So now we're over here at our grease. If you take a little bit of water in your hand, just a little bit, not too much, you can see how hot your grease is. So my grease is pretty hot. So I'm going to turn it down just a little bit. I only have it at number 2, but it is a little warm. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to lay it in there. There we go, we got them in there. They're getting that nice little bubble around them. All right, so now you have that in the pan. So my vegetable of choice tonight is gonna be creamed corn. So we're gonna actually do some creamed corn. All right, so now I have my creamed corn. I'm actually gonna put some black pepper in it. And I didn't like do homemade creamed corn or nothing like that on this go around. But I'm just gonna go ahead and put about a tablespoon in there for the people that like to know how many tablespoons or so. About a tablespoon is what I use. And then I'm going to take just a little bit of onion powder. I'm going to put a little bit of onion powder in it, just a little bit. And just a smidge of garlic powder. So for the chicken, it's about 5 minutes per side. So no more than 15 minutes total for the chicken. Again, always have a thermometer on hand. I'll leave links down in the description below to some of the tools that I use here, thermometers and stuff like that. But yeah, always use your thermometer. Make sure that your meat, I like my thighs to be, like I've said in other videos, about 170 degrees is roughly my mark for mine. 165 is safe for chicken. So again, I'm only gonna give it like a minute or two, and then I'm gonna flip it, because I'm gonna wanna flip it a couple of times. So I'm gonna go ahead and flip it, make sure that we're not burning. Go ahead and get that next one flipped. And that's what you want to see. You want to see that nice brown coating on it. That's what you're wanting to see. That nice brown, but you don't want it too brown just yet. After you cook it, you can go ahead and crisp it if you want it a lot, more crisp on it, you can. So at this point, after my first flip, that's when I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add a little bit more seasoning. So I'm going to take my Tony Chachere's. And I'm just going to go ahead and sprinkle some Tony Chachere's on it. Because we want some flavor to it. We don't want it just flour on there. And that buttermilk's also going to give it some flavor. So again, you season to how you and your family. You will learn, what your family does. I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit of paprika as well. And I'm going to start sprinkling on that paprika. Just a little bit. Really and truly, paprika don't have too much of a taste. But it gives it that golden brown look whenever we flip it one more time. So I'm going to also put a little bit more onion powder over the top of that paprika. And that's it. When I flip it, I will put a little bit more black pepper on it whenever I flip it over. So always remember to keep an eye on your potatoes. Go ahead and give them quick stirs. You don't want gummy potatoes. That's the worst kind of potatoes, is them gummy ones, but you want to make sure that they're boiling. So, and if we see over here in the back too, we're already starting to boil on the cream corn. So I'm gonna go ahead and lower the cream corn to just a little between low and medium. And then I'm gonna go ahead and start folding those seasonings in on it. The smells are really filling up the air right now in here, and it's just, oh, it smells so good. I'm ready to eat, but I still got a little time before the wife gets home. All right, so I got a lot of my area clean, so I'm gonna go ahead, and it's been about 2 minutes. I'm gonna go ahead and flip these. You'll hear the sizzling start really raising on these. One of the big reasons is the juices start to come out of the chicken. And that's why you gotta make sure you're checking on your temperature, because you don't want them dry. So when them juices start coming out, it's like pouring water on grease. The reason why I flip it again for 1 more minute is, remember, we put a little bit more garlic powder on it, and I want all that to be soaked into the breading. So I'm just gonna take one of the biggest pieces of chicken and lift it up, and I'm gonna go ahead and get it in there and take my temperature. So we're right there at that 170, 175 mark that I like to be at, so we can go ahead and turn that off. That is done. So there we go. That's the chicken sitting there. Nice, steamy, got a little bit of grease. Again, if you have a kind of like a cookie sheet, a cookie rack that you can put your cookies on for cooling, you can use something like that with a cookie sheet underneath and lay these on top of, and just let the grease drip off as it's finishing its resting period. We always try to give a good 3 to 5 minutes for a resting period for chicken. Beefs like steaks and stuff, you want to give a 10-minute, depending on what you're cooking. If you're cooking, let's say brisket, you want to give it just a little bit longer. Ribs a little bit longer. They're about 15 to 30 minute rest for those. So don't forget to check on your corn and your potatoes. The potatoes are looking like they're done, so we're gonna go ahead and turn the potatoes off as well. We're gonna pull them out and we're gonna strain them, go ahead and put our butter into it. Okay, so while the butter is melting inside my potatoes right here, the last step that you would need for a lot of this or anything else to cook would be gravy, if you want to use gravy or not. Now, most gravy packs like this one here says, bring 1.5 cups of water to a boil, and then blend the mix in 1/2 cup of cold milk. I do not follow these directions. If you want the best, creamiest gravy out of one of these Pioneers or something, do 1 cup milk, 1 cup water, and boil it both with the packet in it. Telling you, can't go wrong. You can never mess it up. Okay, so people have probably been wondering, you might have wondered in the beginning or whatever, where does the sour cream come into this? I don't know if you've wondered. If you wondered, we're fixing to get to it. So now that the butter is in here melting, what I'm gonna do is go ahead and take off the lid. I still have my steam coming out. I'm all in the steam pit. I'm gonna take my little masher right here, and I'm just gonna start mashing the potatoes up just a little bit. Okay, I want that butter to start moving around throughout the potato and making sure it's all nice and melted. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some black pepper, and I'm just gonna throw some black pepper in here. Then I'm gonna take some more garlic powder, and I'm gonna put just a little bit of garlic powder. Then I'm gonna take my Italian and herb, and then I'm gonna coat it with some Italian and herb as well in here. This right here is like literally, I don't care if somebody doesn't like sour cream. My daughter cannot stand sour cream, but if I do not do my potatoes this way, she don't want to eat the potatoes. So I'm going to try to get a good tablespoon to 2 tablespoons, somewhere in there, of this Italian and herb. It really brings out flavor in potatoes. Okay, so now I'm going to take a little bit of milk, probably about 1/4 cup, and put in my potatoes. Then I'm going to put about 2 tablespoons of sour cream. That's it. You can do a little bit more if you want, but I wouldn't until you mix it up and maybe taste it, and you might want a little bit more. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to start mixing that all in together. Notice it is mashing, it is not gummy. So now the gravy over here is starting to boil. So just make sure we turn it, stir it up. If it starts to try to overflow on you, go ahead and pull it off. You do not want it to overflow, make a big mess. So take your Pioneer and go ahead and drop it in. Then put it back over to the heat and start whisking it together. And now it's time to start plating. And there we have it. That's the chicken fried steak, mashed potatoes, cream corn with some gravy. That's the final result right there. I'm Thomas with Cooking with Thomas. Thank you for joining. Hopefully you can get this knocked out as quick as I can. Again, I'm right at 30 minutes doing this and recording. So quick, under 30-minute meal. Catch y'all in the next meal.